Hello everyone, you're welcome to Alena Media TV, a live broadcast from Canada. My name is Sandra Asante. Today is 13th of January 2023, and there has been a few halts in our broadcast for almost a year. So we'd like to wish you a happy new year with a happy new broadcast. It's time for the African news. Top stories. Amhara forces withdraw from northern Ethiopia's Tigray region. Juba, Khartoum vows to tighten security cooperation. There's some more stories after the break. You're most welcome back from the break to our first story. Forces from Ethiopia's Amhara region who fought in support of federal troops during the 2-year civil war in neighboring Tigray have withdrawn in line with an African Union-backed ceasefire, the army says. The Amhara Regional Special Force, which was in a national mission along with the ENDF, has withdrawn from the area. As per the deal, the Ethiopian National Defense Force said in a statement late on Thursday. The withdrawal is a key step towards implementing the agreement reached on November 2nd. Another key component in the disarmament of Tigrayan forces who began to hand over their heavy weapons on Wednesday. The agreement was signed by Ethiopia's federal government and the Tigray People's Liberation Front, a party that dominates the region. The conflict broke out in November 2020 over this agreement between the federal government in Addis Ababa and Tigrayan authorities. It has created famine-like conditions for hundreds of thousands of people and killed 10,000. According to United Nations, the war has displaced more than 2 million Ethiopians and left more than 13.6 million people in the north dependent on humanitarian aid. The restoration of basic services in Tigray, resumption of humanitarian aid, and withdrawal of troops from neighboring Eritrea who fought alongside Ethiopia's army are central to deal. Eritrean soldiers began to pull out of several important towns in Tigray last month. However, they have not left those towns entirely. Residents says it is not clear whether they are intent to leaving. Eritrea, which was part of the party to the truce, has declined to comment on whether its troops will leave Tigray. Tigrayan forces this week began handing in their heavy weapons in the town of Agrila, about 30 kilometers, that is 18 miles northeast of the regional capital, Mekelle, in a mall overseen by a monitoring team made up of members of two sides and a regional body, the Intergovernmental Authority on Development. Besides the disarming forces, the terms of the agreement also include restoring federal authority in Tigray and reopening access and communications to the region, which has been cut off since mid-2021. To our next story, South Sudan's President Salva Kiir on Thursday met his Sudan counterpart Abdel Fattah al-Burhan to discuss ways of stabilizing political, economic, and security cooperation between two countries. The two leaders met in Juba, the capital of South Sudan, where they reiterated their commitment to ensuring freedom of movement, residence, acquisition of property, and employment for all citizens of their respective countries. Mayan Dotwu, the Undersecretary in the Ministry of Foreign Affairs and International Cooperation, told journalists. Mr. Wu said President Kerr and Al-Burhan, who is the chairman of the Transitional Sovereignty Council of Sudan, deliberated on key issues ranging from the implementation of the 2012 cooperation agreements to trade and security along with border corridors between the two neighboring countries. Security of Sudan and South Sudan is our priority as the two countries are closely intertwined and instability or insecurity within one country can spill across the borders, the leaders said in a joint statement. The two leaders also emphasized the importance of maintaining stability and security along their common border. They also agreed to establish a joint security force to prevent infiltration of illegal weapons. Frontier regions up and now in South Sudan and Darfur in Sudan, as well as disputed Abiy, are often rocked by deadly intercommunal conflicts that split over the borders. President Kerr and his first Vice President Riek Machar and other parties to the 2018 revitalized peace agreement in August 2022 agreed to extend the transitional period, which was due to expire in December 2023. The transitional period will now elapse in 2025, but the parties are to hold elections in February 2024. Dafala Al-Haji Ali, Sudan's Undersecretary in the Ministry of Foreign Affairs, said the meeting focused on ways to fast-track the implementation of the peace agreement, security issues, and bilateral cooperation. In 2020, South Sudan's governmental helped mediate peace between the Sudan Transitional Government, led by Al-Burhan, and various armed opposition groups in Juba. After years of civil war, South Sudan seceded from its northern neighbor in 2011. However, the state of Abiy, the disputed oil-rich region on the border between the two countries, is yet to be determined. In September 2012, Sudan and South Sudan signed a comprehensive cooperation agreement in the Ethiopian capital of Addis Ababa under the patronage of the African Union. The agreement included a package of understandings relating to security, citizen status, border and economic issues, and others relating to oil and trade. To our next story, leaders of the M23 rebel group met with regional peace facilitator, former Kenyan President Uhuru Kenyatta in Mombasa, where they agreed to withdraw fighters from the Democratic Republic of Congo's North Kivu province and follow a ceasefire. But the meeting came as activists in Eastern DR Congo demanded that the East African Community Regional Force EACRF take military action against any rebels opposed to the Congolese army in what could escalate tensions further. The Mombasa meeting came weeks after the M23 rebels asked to table their grievances to Mr. Kenyatta, the appointed peace facilitator of the East African Community, which alongside the International Conference of the Great Lakes region has been trying to pacify Eastern DRC. Bertrand Bisamwa, chairman of the M23, led the group to the meeting. The M23 had been excluded from the dialogue sessions with the Congolese government until they withdrew from all occupied territories. The commune issued on Thursday says the M23 declared willingness to seek peace. To our next story, intelligence organ has arrested a man in Salama, a Kampala suburb, suspected to be an agent of Allied Democratic Forces, and at his two-bedroom house was an explosive-making laboratory and an assortment of weapons. The bomb squad and counter-terrorism units of the police, together with the forensic directorate on Thursday, surrounded the home of Mohammed Kayemba, also known as MK, in Kangaga Zone, Salama in Makande Division, as they combined the 2-bedroom house for any material evidence. The house, which has not secluded but rather near the main road, didn't have any home appliances but rather items including those commonly found in laboratories. According to the Kampala Metropolitan Police spokesperson, Patrick Oyango Kayemba is believed to be suicide bomber for ADF, and that the home was a laboratory where the improvised explosive devices were made from. He is a suicide bomber who has been assigned duty to blow up himself, and the targets were government officials in convoys, security personnel, and in case the two failed, the third alternative was to go where there is a jam to blow himself, Oyongo said. He said intelligence has got information about a suspected suicide bomber, and they followed the lead, including Kanyemba's arrest, who later led them to the house. The bombing-making site is a 2-roomed house with no home appliance, bedding, or anything that can be used at home, but only bomb-making equipment and materials. Here, they were preparing to making IEDs. Since 2021, when twin bombing happened in Kampala, Uganda security has launched several operations targeting ADF sleeper cells in the country. Several suspects have been arrested in the process. Last year, the Crime Intelligence Directorate launched a manhunt for the group that was targeting security personnel, including police posts and stations, to rob guns. Consequently, one Ali Kantende, alias Mao, suspected to be the leader of the group, was arrested in a sting operation carried out in Iyando, Masaka City. It was found out that Kantende, who coordinated the attacks on police stations and posts around the country by moving from Masaka, and joined other colleagues in Mutaga and Maganjo, where they created the smaller terror cells to avoid detection. He was found with 9 guns, including a PK machine gun, a Russian-made belt-fed general-purpose machine gun, chambered for 7.62 times 54 millimeters R-rimmed cartridge. This is where I end the African News. Thank you so much for joining me today. My name is Sandra Asante. Justice for all.